Hell yeah. So this is going to be a very quick video just because we get pieced out. But these are the videos that really help me get back to the wave and stick something. And so what we're going to talk about in this video is low siding, especially when backwards. What we're trying to do here, the other thing that I can work on is we're entering, you can watch it a few times, so we're entering the pile and surfing to the other side of the pile. So that's the first thing that we need to kind of see. I'm on the higher side. I'm going to surf across to the other side of the pile. I kind of think of the pile as a smiley face, where it allows me to go down and then up the other side and still maintain a catch. You know what I mean? Because like right here, I'm kind of fairly high up on the pile, but it drives me down and then works my way over, and then I can, catch that. On this side, I'm on the higher side, which is, if I was on this side over here, maybe I'll get pieced out, but I'm going from that side of the pile, and now when I do this 180, I'm still in this prime location. And then the other thing, like right here, like I'm in my solid position, which I know how to pry or paddle, and that just comes with intuition. In this case, I'm just perfectly angled and I just take a forward stroke. But when it comes to here, now I need to do the same thing. I need to take a backward stroke. And look, I just don't do anything. I'm just kind of backwards and I'm deer in the headlights. And so those are the things that, one, I just need to know that, spatial awareness, I think I'm going to ride up. I don't know that. You know what I mean? So I think that even from this video, I think that's probably going to be the more important. That when I'm executing this turn, there's no reason that I would be low in the trough no more. And so there is, from here to there, I gotta be aware of this elevation change while I'm doing this turn. But the other thing that I'm kind of cautious about is not throwing in a huge pry like right here. Because what's happened, in other times surfing this will just spin me out. And way over here on this side of the pile is really glassy. And so I'm trying to be kind of delicate with this pile, just going from one side and then to the other, but still kind of hooking up so I can come back down. Now in the last video that I just made, which was the surf right before this, I don't do much. This pile definitely takes me around. I really don't do much of a pry, but I want to be able to check this down. And so what I do is I rotate my body and then I get my hand right here. And this is really important. I can still do this from a backwards position, but even just leaning back more. So there's that aspect that I really wanted to get to, is low siding. So like right here, I kind of have missed everything. I've missed my opportunity. I'm actually kind of too high up on here, where now we're just kind of getting ridden off, where I don't think like right here I might have a chance to scoot back, but that's all I have to do. If I was to turn around, what would I do? I would put my hand right here and try to shove this boat in. That was from the last video. And so all I need to do is just jump backwards. Now two things are going to happen. If I do scoot back, the boat can go forward, because the other video was rotating around and then pushing this boat down while I maintain the same position. And that has extra benefits too, because if I can get a couple feet of the boat forward, it's going to tack up onto this surface. Mainly, I think what's killing an R1 surf is this teeter-totter effect of a 10-foot boat. And I think you can eliminate that is if you have very a teeter-totter shape, or does that make sense? I think I need another word for that, but like a half slice. And I think the boat that I reference is the Antix 3, but all half slices. But if you notice right behind the Antix 3, just because I'm not familiar with I'm just getting familiar with design of kayaks, because you need to mimic it in a raft. And they have almost a pivot point like directly behind the hips. And so if you, in an R1, if you were able to sit back there, you're obviously going to pivot the boat, and then this is no longer touching. Anytime that you have a boat that's no longer touching, now your dynamics are, closer to the trough. But yeah, this is just a lot of counterweight. And the only way to prevent that is to get the boat to just really low side. So that's what we're missing here. I don't realize I'm climbing to the top. I don't need a lot of pry, and it's hard to actually get. And I think that's what, intuition-wise, I know I don't want to pry, and I just want to use my body position. And so, like I actually do want to feel like I want to get to the top here, because if it is a big pile, yeah, you do want to get to the top, and you want to, in this backwards position, you want to pry off the bow. A pry off the bow will maintain this angle. Is that right? Yes, because a forward stroke will actually get me to rotate the other way, which is what I'm cautious about on this, because if I'm already rotating here, and sorry, I called it a forward stroke. It's a backward stroke, but I'm just envisioning that this is the new front end of the boat. Like, this is the new bow of the boat. This is the new back. It doesn't matter that I'm backwards. This is easier to look at from, like, skateboard terminology where you're riding switch. If I scoot up to this location, I would technically call that in the raft world riding switch, even though my full back is to, the new front of the boat. But hell yeah, and then you would pry off the bow to maintain that angle. But in this case, this wave is just a little bit too low, where there's no pile over there at all. That is the shoulder, and that shoulder does take this bow high. And that's the other thing that I have to also realize, is that if I'm getting too close to the other side of the pile, the shoulders of the pile really want to take the bow of an R1 boat very vertical. All right, so that kind of takes away the options of jumping farther this way and prying off the bow, because we're just already pieced out. And I've learned a lot over the last, I would say, 2 years to really focus on, like, this is the sticky part. Even if you're on top of the pile, like, this pile won't hold. You know what I mean? It can surf you sideways to maybe get back in, but this will just take you off the top. So low siding the boat. If your boat's going vertical, I think we have two options in the R1 world. Currently, just for this wave and for me, and then, is like, what can I do? This portion of the boat's already getting kicked out. Well, I can lean back onto this lower side. And so hell yeah, and that's got to be instantaneous. So lean back or do an early or rotate. But here, I just don't think there's enough time to rotate. No, I can get it, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I'll be prying. I think I can pry, and then as I'm prying, I got to give up on the paddle stroke. When the water was hella low, and on the other wave, I was able to do those more effectively. I could be like, okay, I'm prying right now, and at the same time I'm prying, I'm actually rotating my body back around, to stick that move. Because right now my body's already got to be rotated, and my hands got to be on here. And we talked about in the other video how this sets up a quadrant, or I would just say a diamond-shaped R1 boat. These front quadrants and the back quadrants, if you lay on them, they are going to edge your boat that direction. And it might be, you might be going the other direction in certain circumstances, but because you have the pile here, I think from what's going on standpoint, is you have to think, especially this boat is very highly rockered, and so if every surface is kind of rockered, but then you have a flat diamond shape in here, if you go lean on this tube, it's just essentially like, and let's say we're also rockered in kind of all directions, where if you lean on this tube, all of these points come out of the water. And I think that's almost crucial in R1 design. If you jump to a quadrant, the other quadrants can come out of the water. Because if you do that, then this is effectively the length of your boat. And this straight section is now surfing back this way and down into the trough. And so hell yeah. And in another video, I think when this happened, I also, if I wanted to throw my move like on steroids, it's just like or just do something very drastic. It's like when this comes around, I need to actually just jump this way, rotate, jump, and get my paddle back into this pile. Like, if I'm going to do it two-handed, just rip the paddle around, lay on this tube, get the paddle into this pile, because there was one time today on this that I actually did that. For whatever reason, I was able to kind of see this motion, and so when I get to that clip, it'll be kind of fascinating. But just really, and that effectively low sides. If I get my body and I'm laying into the direction of the pile, especially because now we're so far over and the pile's way over here, just to throw my body onto this tube and lean my weight and paddle into it, that would definitely seal the deal. All right, hell yeah. So this was good. You know what I mean? I think I'm going to learn more from the clips where I don't do nothing, and we can actually get this to stick. So this would be stalling it out primarily. Just all we need to do is low side the boat. This is the same thing. I could rotate my body. We talked about that. But I wanted to start this from just like, hey, if we're backwards, be focused on the low side. And when I am backwards, I don't even realize that the boat's already up on this pile so high. So while that's happening, I can low side my body. So as this boat goes up, this is where I can actually start to lower my body. You know what I mean? Because once we're up on top of this, it's too late. And so like even as this is happening, as the boat's doing something, I can counter. And that was what I've kind of learned from low side surfing. Let the boat get kicked up while I stay put. You know, as the boat is moving, see, like my body's perfect, but in right here, I just got carried to there. So like right here, as the boat's getting carried to there, I'm going the opposite direction, because I think there's basically from here is good, and then here is maybe the halfway, and then here is, you know, now I'm in no man's land. You know, I could probably actually just scoot back now, but those are the opportunities from, you know, from these two phases, this one to here, this one to here. While that's happening, you know what I mean? At some point, I need to be starting to drive my body back down. And all it takes is just to, like, don't go with the flow of the raft. And in this case, maybe I do have to wait, because I don't want to just jump to the center of the boat. But yeah, let this roll around, and now I can definitely jump back. So maybe there is some timing where the boat's got to get to here, and then I can jump back. So there you go. So in real time, the boat's got to get some sort of angle, so when I jump, just slide back on the boat to pass this orange tube, then the boat is low siding. But yeah, so that definitely puts some juice to it, you know, puts some, like, you know, hard emphasis of what I need to do for this. As the boat's doing that, I need to low side. And it's just tricky because this puts me in a backwards position, and I just need to get more intuitive with this position to, and it's just, I don't know, on sometimes when I low side, I don't like it because it seems like the boat's going to flip. If the boat does low side and start to go in, then I can slowly scoot, you know, forward and then be in, you know, up against the pile. So, all right. So, hell yeah. You get to watch this all the way through. Thanks for joining me on this one. All right, booyah.